Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is The Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group.
A man who's gone through hell, but he's kept going, and he's smart, and he's strong, and people love him. Not everybody, but people love him and respect him. Roger Stone.
Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back in the Roger Stone Show. Joining us now is Ronda Kennedy, attorney at law. She is a constitutional attorney, mother of 6, including triplets, with a knack for tough, hard-hitting law. She sued and won to keep gun stores open during COVID, a landmark Second Amendment case, fought to save 8 businesses from county shutdowns, winning their cases and sparing them millions of dollars in fines. She also took down Meta to reclaim hacked accounts. She also halted forced vaccinations for the first responders and the military in California. Now she's representing Joe Collins III. He ran against Maxine Waters, and Maxine Waters defamed him. Waters falsely claimed that Collins did not accurately report his military record. Incredibly, Waters believes that she should not be required to testify because, well, she's above the law. Now, Maxine Waters' net worth, as derived from her financial disclosures with the U.S. House of Representatives, is $5.2 million, which is interesting since she's been a member of the U.S. House since 1990. Her primary asset include a mansion in the Hancock Park area of Los Angeles, which is valued at $5 million. But by the way, that's not within the district that she represents. Actually, her district, the 3rd Congressional District, according to data from the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey of 2020, the median income in the district that Maxine represents but does not live in was $776. It's interesting that this case has to do with defamation because, well, Maxine Waters seems to think that she can defame the president anytime she wants, and she can advocate violence. Let's listen to Maxine Waters.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
That's firebrand Maxine Waters. Ronda Kennedy joins us now. Ronda, you are an African American. You're a Republican. You have a very interesting family history. Tell us a little bit about that to start.
Yes, well, I'm a direct descendant of slaves. Both my great-great-great-grandfathers on both sides of my family ran away from their literal Democrat plantation. My one grandfather was 11, and he joined the Union Army as a water boy. My other grandfather actually served in the Union Army and died in a Confederate prison camp. So my roots go deep. And my grandmother had the first black floral shop in Wisconsin. Her father was the first black state assemblyman for Wisconsin. My great aunt started the first black bank in Wisconsin and the chapter of the NAACP there. So I have a long, deep roots for this country. I love my country, and I am a staunch Republican.
This is a very interesting case that you're dealing with. Just some background on Maxine Waters. In 2010, the Office of Congressional Ethics, an independent panel, said that it had found a substantial reason to believe that Waters had violated House ethics rules when she used her position on the Financial Services Committee to essentially push the Treasury Department to bail out a bank, One United, that her husband had been a board member of since 2024 to 2028. And at the time, he held at least $500,000 worth of stock in the bank. The meeting between Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson and the National Bankers Association's representatives who were supporting the point of view of Waters regarding One United occurred in September 2008. United received a $12 million federal bailout for their bank. Waters' chief of staff, Michael Moore, worked to help One United Bank, even as Representative Barney Frank of Massachusetts, chairman of the House Financial Committee, urged Waters to stay out of it because of her husband's ties to the bank. However, Moore, that's the staffer for Waters, provided continued assistance to One United, including attending meetings and exchanging emails and phone calls with the bank's executives, communicating with other congressional staffers regarding a legislative solution to One United's financial problems. Waters denies knowing anything about the bailout. Pardon me if I don't believe her. In October 2008, regulators accused One United's management of unsound banking practices and excessive executive perks. In 2010, Waters was accused of violating 3 rules. One that requires members to behave at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibility on the House. A second rule that prohibits lawmakers from using their influence for personal benefit. And a third rule forbidding the dispensing of favors as a member of Congress. The statement of alleged violations noted that Waters' husband's stock in One United Bank, worth about $350,000 in June of 2008, dropped to half its value in September. If One United had not received the bailout from TARP, that's the Troubled Asset Relief Program, her husband's financial interest in the bank would have been completely worthless. One United was one of only the few banks to be under a federal supervisory enforcement order at the time it received the TARP funding. On October 27, 2008, the FDIC and the Massachusetts Division of Banks issued a cease and desist order to One United. The order said that the agencies had reason to believe the bank had engaged in unsafe or unsound banking practices and violations. So the question is an obvious one. Why hasn't Maxine Waters, who used her influence as a member of Congress to benefit herself and her husband, been prosecuted? Oh, that's right. She's a Democrat. Her other great scam, and you know this, Rhonda, is the selling of slate cards. So they do a Maxine Waters slate card, which tells Democrats how to vote in primaries, and they charge candidates like Gavin Newsom or Dianne Feinstein or Barbara Boxer an enormous amount of money. Open Secrets found that Waters paid her daughter more than $114,000 for her campaign services, more than any other member had paid. And it's hard to say because this would be regulated by the state. But Karen Waters was paid $192,300 from her mother's campaign fund to run this slate mailer operation. This is grifting. All right, Rhonda, tell us about this case, and then we got about 2 minutes, and we'll come back on the other side, and you can tell us a lot more about the case.
Yes, well, this is a defamation case. Maxine Waters, during her campaign where Joe Collins ran against her, put out information stating that Joe Collins was dishonorably discharged, which was incorrect. Joe presented his DD-214s that showed that she was not dishonorably discharged, but Maxine Waters didn't care. She's caught on video at a campaign event of Joe Collins passing out flyers that states that he was dishonorably discharged. Joe Collins sued her. The case was dismissed by a crooked judge, and Joe Collins appealed. And the appellate court, he won there, stating that Maxine Waters should have known better, that she willfully did not speak the truth so that she could still spread her misinformation. So it was remanded back to on the trial level, and we're now going to be going to trial. I've been trying to pin her down for a deposition, which she's been dodging. So I finally got her pinned down for March 18th. But Maxine Waters is now seeking a protective order so that we cannot discuss the deposition, the contents of the deposition, or her transcript.
Yeah, it's different rules for them. She has been a stain on the Congress for a long time. And I hate to give her bad news, but they're not going to let her wear that wig in prison. She was part and parcel of the January 6th hoax. I think if you dig into her campaign finances, you'll find a number of problems. This is, it's very hard for them to understand they're not now in power, that they can't do anything they want. I think her attitude about this case is a perfect example. When we come back on the other side, I'm going to ask Ronda Kennedy, what is her response? What is her reason why she should not be compelled to give a deposition like any other citizen would?
Now, it's time for Protecting Your Future, sponsored by Colonial Metals Group. Here's Roger Stone.
In these turbulent economic times, with Elon Musk and Doge uncovering not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars worth of waste, fraud, and corruption, with the Federal Reserve printing money like it's going out of style, it's fiat currency, with Democrats fighting the spending cuts and the layoffs in the federal government, there is no better time to protect your future, protect your retirement, and that is by acquiring precious metals like gold and silver. You can actually convert a portion of your IRA or your 401k to gold or silver and do so tax-free. Gold has been a standard from the beginning of time. It is a very solid decision. I urge you to go to the folks at Colonial Metals Group. You find them at colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone. They're the people that I trust. colonialmetalsgroup.com/stone, or go to freegoldguide.com and they'll answer all your questions. Do yourself a favor. Do it today.
This is the Roger Stone Show.
How does PwC take your company to the leading edge? They bring the sharpest minds in tech to your team, so you can bring the ideas that will transform your business. They're passionate about your industry, so you can walk into any room with every advantage. And they're with you every step of the way, so you can know you're headed in the right direction. PwC builds for what's next, so you can get there now. Get started at pwc.com/us/leading edge. This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
This episode is brought to you by GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco. Get the most out of your vehicle with GM Genuine Parts and AC Delco original equipment. The only parts designed, engineered, tested, and backed by General Motors. You can find your perfect fit for most makes and models and choose from 3 tiers of parts, including GM OE or gold and silver aftermarket parts. Visit gmparts.com for more information.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic, and Super Nintendo World. Now open at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump.
They went after a guy named Roger Stone, who's sitting in the office. And I'll say this in front of Roger, he's no baby. And right now, he's cleaner than anybody in this place. now is they treated him very unfairly.
All of these presidents relied on one man to secure their seat in the Oval Office. That man is Roger Stone.
Roger Stone.
This is the Roger Stone Show, presented by Colonial Metals Group. Now, here's Roger Stone.
And we're back with Ronda Kennedy. She's a constitutional attorney, mother of 6, including triplets. And she has a strong record of winning landmark cases regarding the Second Amendment. She is a brawler in the courtroom, I can tell you that. Ronda Kennedy challenged Congressman Adam Schiff for re-election. Now, remember, California has this so-called jungle primary. So the Republican and Democrat parties do not have party primaries to choose their nominee. Instead, any candidate of any party runs in one omnibus election. So you may have 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, minor party candidates. David Schoen, the criminal defense attorney, has argued that the jungle primary system is unconstitutional. It's going to be very interesting to see how that comes out. But it became very clear that in the U.S. Senate race, Adam Schiff realized that if he faced a progressive liberal to his left, namely Congresswoman Katie Porter, who is an extraordinarily prodigious fundraiser and a protege of Senator Ellen Warren, that he would be in trouble. I believe it or not, by California standards, Adam Schiff is a moderate. I know that's hard to believe. So he was funneling money to Steve Harvey, the Republican candidate, to make sure that Harvey got the second piece in the jungle primary, and then under that system, the 2 top vote getters face off against each other. And clearly Schiff knew that a Republican would not win in blue California. He feared running against a Democrat to his left. That's how he got to the Senate. Some people might call that, a dirty trick. Rhonda, on primary night in the jungle primary, you were declared the winner. Then what happened?
Then same-day registered voter ballots came in, and I wasn't top 2 anymore. It was Adam Schiff and myself, and then someone called maybe a girl, a drag queen, actually ran against Adam Schiff in that 2022 congressional race. And then, of course, when the general election came, he just, cleaned their clock and took his seat again.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you some idea, a transsexual won the nomination. This is the district that includes Burbank and West Hollywood, not exactly your typical middle American district. But it speaks to the lack of integrity regarding the California election system. I'm sorry, but when they tried to remove Gavin Newsom in a recall, they expect us to believe that the recall was defeated in every single county, including some counties that had voted to secede from California, and some counties that were overwhelmingly Republican. Pardon me if I am skeptical. And then in these most recent elections, in Orange County, in at least 3 congressional districts, first of all, they were counting votes 3 weeks after the election, but secondarily, more people voted than are registered to vote. To me, that is a substantial problem. I don't understand why the Republican candidates did not appeal to the House Committee on Administration. On the other hand, when Commander Rocky Rockford, who was a retired naval commander, challenged Kathy Castor, whose mother had been a congressman in the 14th District of Florida, Castor was declared the winner. And then Rockford learned that some 37,000 plus voters, mail-in votes that had been counted, had registration forms that included no birth date and no social security number. In other words, the votes were not valid. For reasons I don't understand, the House Administration Committee refused to overturn that election. Again, the final arbiter of who is elected to Congress is the House itself. Republicans are going to have to get more aggressive. You have a situation in the 21st District of New York, a special election, so the primary voters do not get to choose. The Republican nominee will be chosen by 16 party bosses rather than the people. But already there's an effort to limit the number of candidates, the specific candidates that the upcoming convention is allowed to vote for. See, they choose the nominating convention based on a weighted vote per county based on population. Doesn't say anything about the New York State bylaws regarding limiting the choices before the convention to a predetermined number of candidates. Interestingly enough, the county chairwoman who is running this hoax just got successfully sued for doing the exact same thing in her home county, declaring that the county convention could not vote for a candidate that she disliked. If the Republicans do not have a fair, honest, open, completely legal selection for the seat of Elise Stefanik, I think there's a high probability that they could lose this seat. Now, it is a Republican seat based on registration, but the Democrats have nominated a farmer. I believe his name is Gebeline. And guess what? He wants to seal our border. He wants to cut waste, fraud, and corruption from government. Suddenly, he's trying to sound like a Republican. Anyway, I want to thank Ronda Kennedy for joining us today on the Roger Stone Show. And coming up, Grant Cardone, entrepreneur, businessman, patriot. A lot of people think Grant Cardone may be considering running for governor of California. We're going to ask him, so don't go away. This is the Roger Stone Show. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial.
Street.